What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. We are here, I'm here at least, in Florida. This is my Florida townhouse. We do have David joining us today. He's right there. You can see. Great hat, by the way. Who makes that hat?
Paragon used to, but then I guess Corey was told he couldn't sell them. So
Nice.
I've got one if you need one. I got a box of them.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, welcome back to Corvette Weekly. Thanks for tuning in as usual. I appreciate you guys always coming in with the support. See a bunch of the same names popping in here. Bill Miller, NBA Live. Omid, what's up, man? AARPM. I'd say DBM Racing, but he's also here on the screen with us. Seawolf, what's up? Kevin Horan, how's it going? Chili Pepper. Steven Risha, what's up, man? And Amber, even Amber's in here, guys. So she's in the comfort of our home in Pennsylvania while I'm down here in Florida. I'll make that sound like a bad thing, even though it's really not. So anyway, we've got a lot of stuff to discuss tonight, guys. A lot of ZR1 stuff to talk about, but more importantly, a really cool giveaway. So like I said, we're getting back into the giveaways here on the channel. So if you guys want to win some cool stuff for your cars, this is the place to do it. Now, last week, or the last 2 weeks, we were doing the giveaway from a C8 Rally driver, and the winner already ordered his product. I actually put up a video on my Instagram from C8 Rally driver because he already painted it, shipped it, it's ready to go. This guy's going to get his part in like a couple days after he wins it. So he won a $400 item. I think he donated 50 bucks. So he obviously doing very well. Now, that's kind of what we're all about here. We're going to give everybody a fair chance to win usually pretty expensive items. Tonight, the item is around $250. But the biggest complaint I got from the last 2 weeks was these parts that I was giving away couldn't be used on a convertible. This one can be used on a convertible. And it doesn't matter what car you have, whether it's the Stingray, E-Ray, Z06, or if somehow you magically have a ZR1 sitting in your driveway, these will work for any of them. So if you guys are interested in getting into the giveaway today, same rules apply as the last 2 weeks. $10 will get you an entry. $50 or more will get you double entries. So normally $50 will only get you 5 entries, but $50 plus will get you 10 entries and so on and so forth. So what is the giveaway tonight, you might say, Justin? Well, here it is. So this is the EOS Extreme Online Store full carbon fiber door sill replacement. Now, GM has just started kind of carrying these themselves. These are significantly cheaper than GM's, but they are just as good. It's full carbon fiber through and through. You can do whatever you want with these things as far as putting your logos on them. I would recommend putting some Expel or PPF on them. But other than that, they are real carbon fiber. These are not hydro dip. They're not fiberglass. They're carbon fiber. Now, these, again, $10 will get you an entry. 50 plus will get you double entries to win real carbon fiber door sills. So again, good for any one of the C8 Corvettes out there. If you're interested, the Venmo information is pinned in the first chat on the chat here, or you can do just the super chat right through YouTube's chat system. Either way, it will get you an entry. So we'll start off with that, guys. But at the end of the day, we're here to talk about Corvettes. So yeah, let's see where we at here.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good bit of EOS stuff, and their stuff's good stuff, man. It really is, especially for the price. It's almost hard to beat.
I actually just was talking to a couple of people at the car show this past Saturday, the Supercar Saturday. 2 of the people there had the engine bay area surrounds with carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were from AG Motorsports, and 2 other people had them from EOS. There is zero difference between the 2. Yeah. They guaranteed they are coming from the same supplier. The only difference is about $500. You'll literally save yourself $500, and it's the same manufacturer. So somebody told me not too long ago that in the world, for the US at least, in the world there is only like 5 different carbon fiber manufacturers, and out of those 5, only a certain percentage of them even sell to the public. So you're probably looking at 2 or 3 different companies that make carbon fiber here. So if you're buying from a certain website over another website, odds are very good you're buying the same product.
Probably.
Yeah, Nate, we can finally hear you. So whatever it is working nicely now, but nice. Thanks, Crystal. What a good
Yeah,
person
we can
that
see you
Crystal.
on both channels now, Nate.
Oh,
So
what's up with that, Nate? Now we can get you
I
on
know,
here.
right?
Wow,
You got
dude, that's
both channels
awesome.
going. So that means 2 thumbs up, Nate. Like,
Yeah,
like
I was gonna say
got
you better
both
have thumbs
channels.
up on both accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
John Perkins says, by the way, Justin, I like that you showed more variety of cars. I got a couple of requests for that. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of surprised that people would care. It seems like the Corvette guys only want to see Corvettes. I was honestly surprised that anybody would really care about any of the other cars at that show. Now, I'm a car guy, so of course, I can appreciate all these cars. But I've noticed that if I put out a video on my channel that's not Corvettes, it gets like no views. So I was kind of surprised to see that any of you guys wanted to see any of this rest of those cars, but I'm okay filming all of them down there because usually there's some cool cars that show up.
Oh
We've
yeah,
seen all kinds of craziness.
there's a lot of cool cars that show up down there at that show.
Yeah.
That show's no joke.
Yep. Seawolf says the Supercar Saturday looks awesome, Justin. I'm gonna have to come check it out sometime. Yeah, you are. You should. That would be really awesome. Especially if you come down here with your car, I'll make sure to put your car right beside our booth.
There you go.
John says he liked all of them. That's awesome. So anyway, guys, if you haven't yet, please smash the thumbs up button. Let us know you're liking the content. It helps the channel. It helps these live videos get circulated out to a little bit more people so we can start increasing our audience size here, because since we are doing these giveaways now, these are something that are going to be becoming a big part of the channel moving forward. I'm making some big strides in making sure that this is something that's going to be readily available on pretty much every one of these Monday Night Lives. So if you're interested in winning anything, like I said, every $10 is a donation, or an entry, I'm sorry. Every $10 donation is an entry. And yeah, so let's increase the size here. Let's smash the thumbs ups whenever you can. Looks like we have 59 in here right now. We have over 100 people watching, so let's try to get those numbers to match, or at least very close if we can. Let's see. Change my name again. See, I told him before he came in here, it had YouTube in the very beginning. I bet you that's why it was getting blocked. YouTube probably doesn't like to see that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I bet.
HPO family, let's hit those thumbs ups. This man's wise over there with his hat.
Let's do
So,
that.
Squirrel Cage Garage, how you doing, man? He says, how's everybody doing?
Okay.
By the way, guys, thank you for the membership support. I see a bunch of green names popping up in here. I did this time make sure in the description down below, it will have a link to memberships. If you guys are interested in joining, click on that link and it will let you join the memberships. Once we hit 12 members, which right now I think we have 8. Once we hit 12, I'm going to put out a video to the members only of some bloopers that I have cut out of some previous videos. They're pretty funny. So it's only like 2 minutes long, but it's good stuff. And I'm going to only continue to put stuff like that out there for the members. So make sure if you're on here and you want to support the channel, check the description down below, click on that members link, and either one of the memberships that you choose, I will make this video public to all of those members.
Nice.
Yeah, Nate. So Nate says we should do a giveaway for those new pedal shifters. I talked to Corey. That is going to be something that's coming soon. But you're going to have to wait a little bit because they want to wait until there's another shipment, because as of right now, there's only been one shipment and they don't know when another one's coming. So
right.
They don't want to give away their only inventory, basically. KP says, do you think the heat from the motor will cause the carbon fiber delamination down the road regarding the surrounds? Which surrounds?
If it's just the appearance package stuff on the top, it shouldn't.
Oh no, I've had that on mine now for almost a year, and zero discoloration, zero delamination. Honestly, I'm very impressed with the quality. Like David was saying earlier, I'm very impressed with the quality of that carbon fiber, because it's not from GM, and it doesn't delaminate. It doesn't turn colors. Like that's the big reason I chose everything in my engine bay from the same manufacturer, because I didn't want it turning brown like GM stuff does.
Right.
I've been very impressed with it.
Thing. Yeah, that's the biggest thing too. Like, yeah, all of my stuff's on the exterior from EOS so far, and it's the same. No yellowing, no browning, no anything. I mean, it still looks just as good as the day I put it on. So it's good stuff, guys.
Greg Moore, you might want to read the hat closer before you leave, because, yeah, that says make Corvette great again. This isn't a political stance. So purely Corvettes. We want to make sure that they stay, they remain
right.
great. And yeah, that's what we're all about. So Great White North Corvette. What is the top speed of the C8 ZR1? That's one of the things we're going to be talking about today here, guys. The video teaser from Chevy just dropped today. And if you haven't seen that yet, I'm going to pull it up here for you in a second, because it is a very interesting and very, very short ad from GM, but nonetheless, it is from GM and it's pretty cool. Now, one thing it does say is, just like the title says on this particular video, they confirmed, GM already has shown and confirmed the C8 ZR1 is definitely going to be faster than the C7 ZR1, because they showed the C8 ZR1 hitting 212 while it was still going. So 212 miles an hour is the top speed that is shown on this video, but that is not the top speed. They are going to be releasing the official top speed tomorrow. And with that said, we're going to take some guesses on what that top speed might be. I'm going to say 222. Me and David were just talking about this offline a little bit. I like the roundness, not the roundness, but the way it flows off the tongue, the 222. But David thinks it might be a little bit higher than that. And I've heard some people guessing as high as 250. So I'm going to actually put up a poll here. I don't know. I guess I can't.
Yeah, I'm going with, like we said, I'm going with 225. That's where I think, like, because you start to get 250 is Bugatti territory, but
Yeah,
the aerodynamics,
right.
like, also to the drag. I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I think that's 250 is a little too high.
Yep.
So,
Yep, we got some 225s in there. Yep.
Yeah, I think I like 222.
Yeah.
But
it does work. It does work.
It does.
It does.
Bill says 235. What's funny is, guys, when this video comes out tomorrow, it's going to tell us the top speed. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to try to look at these chats. Specifically, I think the chat won't be visible anymore, so you'll have to leave a comment on the video after it's not live. And I want to see who ends up being right. So after this video is not live anymore, guys, come back here, comment on the video just with the same number that you have. Put whatever you're posting in here, post on the comment section too, so it's on there. I want to see who's right. I'm saying 222. David's saying 225.
Yeah. Chili Pepper said ZR1 top speed, same as MSRP.
Oof. What you think?
That's rough.
You think 250,000?
That's rough, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeremy says 232. I like that too. That's still one of those nice kind of
warp speed. That's a good one too.
Ron says he needs more carbon fiber. He donates $20. So I'm gonna have to keep track of this. I don't have my wife here to do it for me. So
yeah, I have that carbon fiber sickness too, Ron. It's bad.
Yeah, it is. It is a sickness too. That's the sad part. There's no better way to put it. It is a sickness.
You know, the crazy thing is, I know we're all waiting on this top speed number, and it's going to be a big number. It's going to be crazy. But, you know, the 80 to 200 to 80 time is 24 and a half seconds. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
24 and a half seconds to go from 80 to 200 miles an hour back to 80. That is 25, I think, % faster than the C7 ZR1, but 24 and a half seconds.
So
from 80 to 200.
Here's the one thing we really have to remember though, David, is that, yeah, it's significantly faster than the C7 ZR1, but it's also got like 300 more horsepower. And it's one of those things where it's like every generation should improve over the previous generation. And honestly, the improvements are there, but they're not what you would really I don't know. This is hard to say without coming across like first world problems kind of guy, but the improvement here is just horsepower. Like the extra horse, I mean, I hate to say just, but there's really, at some point we are going to plateau. At some point it's going to be really hard to improve upon a car, because we are getting to the point now where these cars are really, really awesome. So to throw 300 more horsepower than the C7 ZR1 has at this car, it's actually 309 more horsepower.
Right.
That should move it a good bit faster than the 212 top speed of the C7 ZR1. Now, obviously, with the big wing and everything, you add in drag, but that's not, from what I can tell, that's not the version they're testing here. So top speed
Right.
of this car is not going to be with the ZTK package installed. It wasn't with the C7 either. It was the low wing on the C7. So I'm thinking 10 to 15 miles an hour over what the C7 ZR1 did is probably what we're going to be looking at. But if you think about that in percentages based on how much more horsepower it takes to get 10 to 15 mile an hour more top speed, it's crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, and at that speed, the things you're talking, the physics you're talking about, it's like
Yeah.
pushing a billboard, right? Like at that speed, when
Yep.
getting through the air at that speed. Plus things like on the Veyron and the Chiron and all those, the tires are only good for like 20 minutes at those speeds. This car runs out of gas in like 7 minutes at that speed or some craziness. Like,
And see,
so it's that one.
that's another good point though, is that GM they've talked about this already about making different tire compounds, but they're going to have to change that tire compound because the top speed of the Sport Cup 2s, I don't think is much more than, I want to say it was 215.
Oh yeah. Well, and those are two, like and it's at a certain time too, as well. Like the tires they had on the Bugattis, right? It was 240 or 250 something for X amount of minutes, and then that was it.
Yeah, because if you think about it, those things are spinning so fast, they're literally just going to start to melt.
That's exactly what happens. So
I'm trying to find the top speed of these tires. If anybody knows in the comment section, let me know. This is not something that you have to look up that often on cars, Oh, can the top speed of my car, or can the top speed of my tires actually handle the top speed of my car? Because if not, a lot of times, like my truck, for example, the TRX, it is limited. It literally the engine is governed to stop the truck at a certain mile per hour. I think it's 112 or 116 because the stock tires literally they're not rated for anything higher than that.
Yep.
Sport Cup 2Rs are rated at 186 plus mile per hour, but I want to know like what is the actual,
what the VMAX is on them.
Yeah.
Well, whatever tire they're running at the Nürburgring, all three of the drivers, they said, hit 200 comfortably.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even a stretch. So they're running them over 200 on whatever tire they're running if they're running the Cup 2R. So.
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, there's Cup 2Rs on the ZTK package and just the Sport 4Ss on the non-ZTK. So either way, I don't know how GM gets around the legality of this. Like, those tires aren't meant to hit 210 plus miles an hour. And if they are, they're definitely not built to sustain it.
An owner's manual full of asterisks is.
They better hit you with those pretty, like, as they're selling the car too. So Ramen says 186. It's listed as 186 plus, but then Chopper's Larry says 15 minutes and the tires melt. It runs out of gas at 13. Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. Your tires won't melt by about 2 minutes. That's good. Omid says, did you notice the tire pressure on the video they released? Yeah, that was insane. It was like 52 or something in the rear, which is, again, I'm pretty sure those tires are stated at 50 PSI max, aren't they?
Well, did it start at 52?
Probably not. This is whenever they were showing
it. They probably have to have them, even lower, like in the 20s before they start, just because it's going to get so hot.
Yeah.
So
for those of you who haven't seen this yet, I'm going to show this real quick. And it is, like I said, it's real quick because this video is not very long. But let's take a look at this really quick here on my channel. Here's the video.
That's fast.
It is very quick. I'm going to play this again because I want to pause it on this. So right here you can see those tire pressure numbers: 46 in the front, 52 in the rear. That's incredible. That's pretty high. Plus the car is at 6th gear, about red line in 6th gear. So you got 7th and 8th still to go. Really only 7th. 8th is going to be more of a cruising gear for the most part. So you got at least one more full gear to go. I'm thinking high 220s, low 230s. So Jeremy,
it clicked off 10, 11, 12 on that video quick.
That's true. It was not struggling to hit those numbers. So that's true.
It clicked that off quick.
Yeah, it did. So if you guys haven't seen the video, like I said, it was literally that short. It's just quick enough to show you that it is going to beat the C7 ZR1, but it's not telling you the top speed. We're going to hear it tomorrow. I'm thinking now that I see that how fast that was going through those numbers, it is going to be higher than 222. It's probably going to be like 232, like Jeremy said. I think he's going to be pretty on with that. But I mean, still, for a production car hitting 200 plus, 230, maybe 240.
It's crazy.
That is very crazy.
That's crazy.
Oh, the Cup 2Rs call for 35 psi. That's cool.
Yeah, if you start at 35 and you get to 212, they're going to be up there. It'll be 50
Yeah.
plus, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you remember at Ron Fellows, because they dropped the pressures to like low 20s before you even get out there.
Yep.
And by the time you come off the track, it's high 30s. Like you really putting a lot of heat in them.
Yep. Yep. And I know the Sport 4S only call for 30 though, so that's kind of weird. Guys, it's 7:57. We have 89 thumbs ups. Let's smash the thumbs up. Let's get to 100 before 8 o'clock. That's always our goal here. So let's do these things. Look at all these thumbs on the screen right now. A lot of thumbs. Smash the thumbs up, guys. Let's get to 100. All right, we're at 90 now. We need 10 more in the next 3 minutes. You can do it.
Do that.
Yeah, that's easy. That's nothing.
Easy. Come on, guys. Yeah, it's funny too, man, because like you watch that and you see a lot of other VMAX videos where it's 210, 211.
Yeah, it's barely, it's crawling. Yeah,
that shit went 10, 11, 12.
Yep. Yeah, that's funny. GM's they're good at putting these things out that make you think, because it's like somebody sees that and they're like, oh, well, it might only go to 215. And then car guys are like, no, that thing's moving quick. Like it's boom, 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 boom. It's still moving. Climbing.
And like you said, we're in 6th gear. You'll probably get some more out of 7th, not 8th.
Yeah, 8th is always more of a cruising gear. So you'll probably get another 20 to 30 miles an hour out of the 7th gear, I bet, with how much that was climbing. Right. So maybe 230s to 240s. God, that is incredible that we're even talking about this.
That is going to be insane, man. That is going to be absolutely insane.
Wow. Let's see. So KP says, I bet GM has some special bespoke tires for the top speed run. No, they said that they didn't. So, and I mean, this I don't know now, because this is making me wonder even more, because that's not the ZTK car on that video. So that's the Sport 4S tire, which if I had to guess has a lower top speed than the Sport Cup 2Rs, even if it's not by much. I don't know, man. Whoever's in that car testing this top speed,
got some cojones.
They better have a good life insurance policy.
That's right. Well, you knew they were going to use the low wing one for the VMAX runs because it has less. You knew that. So, but I mean, they can easily throw on a set of Cup 2Rs, I guess. But still,
the thing is with that said, Tad's just recently, I think we were talking about this last week, was talking about how the ZR1 doesn't have active aero because it doesn't need it. The big wing on the back of the ZTK car does not actually create much drag. So, I don't know. I know with the ZR1, the C7 ZR1, the big wing in the back created more drag than the small wing. And I would imagine it's the same here, but it's still, the fact that you have a wing that large on the back and it doesn't create that much drag, pretty impressive.
A lot of wind tunnel time.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, let's smash those thumbs ups. We did hit 100. We're at 107 now. We got 150 people watching. Let's make those numbers match. That'd be really cool. So,
awesome, guys.
Let's look at the Corvette forum here for a minute, because they actually posted on here about the new ZR1 hitting 212 miles an hour. But what was kind of interesting is some people pointed out, just like we saw, we were in 6th gear, 18 PSI. So the turbos we know on this car, I believe, will overboost to 25. Or was it 28? I believe it was 25.
No, I think it's 25, yeah.
Yeah, so they boost normally to 23, but they will overboost to 25. So we're not even at full boost. Tire pressure's looking crazy. We're in 6th gear, still 7th to go at least, if not 8th, depending on how it pulls. And from what I can tell, that icon down below shows that this car is in sport mode. So it's not even in track. This guy's nuts. Oh, man. Yeah, so he's in sport mode. Yeah. Oh, and the tire thing says that they're cool. God. They're not even warmed up. This guy's nuts. Oh, my God. Yeah, it says cool underneath the tires. I just now saw that. Like, oh, my God. We're not even going to get a top speed tomorrow. We're just going to see this guy's funeral being displayed.
Yeah,
Good
big
Lord.
pile of rubble and smoke.
That's insane. That guy's crazy.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. You know, these guys have to be a little bit crazy though.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you're up there
You
at
do.
that speed, it's one thing to blast around the Nürburgring, that's scary enough. But when you're top speeding something that you're tired, you're like, okay, you've got just enough fuel to run out of fuel before your tires melt. Like, who's like, yes, let's
Yep.
do it.
You got 13 minutes before you run out of fuel, but 15 before your tires literally burst into flames.
Exactly. Yeah, G Smith. Yeah, 220 plus. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, he
It's
says
gonna be crazy.
math tells me the 220, but that's crazy for a Chevy. I think we're going to be above 220. I would say the lowest this thing's going to be is 222, just because I really like that number, and I want that to be true on some level.
Yeah, the way it clipped off 10, 11, 12. I mean, there's easy 10 more miles an hour in there. Easy.
And that's honestly, I have a feeling we're going to look at this in two different ways. So when GM comes out tomorrow with the top speed, they may not give us a top speed. The car might have a different top speed than what it could actually do. You know what I mean? So they may govern it at a certain point just for safety purposes. So they might spike it at 222, but they may say it's 222, but it has 235 in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just don't. The tire doesn't exist, at least not for the Corvette.
It'll be interesting.
Sam says ZTK 220, non-ZTK 228. That's definitely legit. That sounds about right.
That does sound about ballparky. No prices yet. We're gonna get all the specs before we get the prices.
The price spec will be the last one we get. What's up, Jay?
That'll be the last one we get after they've been dangling that carrot forever with all these crazy numbers.
Exactly. They want you to know why the car is going to be so insanely expensive before they hit you with the price. And yeah, the insurance as well. The insurance is going to be a problem, G. Smith, for some. I know of 2 insurance companies that are literally already saying they're not going to even insure this car. So not that it's going to be high when they insure it or that it's going to be hard to get. They're literally not going to insure it. And this is funny because it wasn't that long ago where I knew of a couple of insurance companies that were refusing to insure cars with like 400 horsepower. Now, those companies are like, yeah, we'll insure it, no problem. Oh, you want 1,000? And that's a different story. Like as the time moves on, you know, these ceilings have to be lifted a little bit, but yeah, as of now, unless they change it, there's going to be some insurance issues. The price is probably going to be pretty high, and it'll probably be worth it. So there you go.
It's definitely going to be worth it. I mean, look at everything else you're talking about that you would even remotely put in those categories of numbers, right? You're not getting it for under 200K.
No.
Sorry.
Lewis says, has NCM given any ballpark on premiums? They haven't, but the last time I talked to them about my cars, they flat out told me that the C8 Z06 and the C7 ZR1 were currently, to this day, as of October 14th, 2024, the most expensive cars that they insure. So if you have a C8 Z06, even though NCM's prices will be the best you can get, they're still the most expensive cars that NCM insures.
And they do plan to insure it. Like if you're an insurable person, let's put it that way. They do plan to, like, let's throw that out there, but they do plan to insure it because I just did my premiums for the year for all mine through NCM. And I actually asked that question. I was like, hey, I'm on the list, blah, blah, blah. Are you guys going to be in there? Like, yeah, they're like, with your rate, you're fine. Like, he's like, it's going to be pricey, but we'll insure them. So
I love that you added if you're an insurable person. you have to add that stuff nowadays because you never freaking know.
Yes, you do.
All right,
like you ain't getting in there with 3 wrecks, 8 tickets, a DUI. Like that ain't happening.
No. All right, guys. So just again to mention really quickly the giveaway for today. It is the carbon fiber door sills from EOS. I did get another entry from Larry Anthony. He is in for $50. So with the $50 donation, he's going to get 10 entries into the giveaway. And guys, we will be running this until next Monday night. That's when we'll be doing the actual giveaway portion. So if you donate tonight, you will win next Monday night if your name is called. Now, if you guys are curious about the other products that EOS does sell, I have pretty much every single one that you can get from them on my engine bay. And this is, if you haven't seen that video yet, this is what the engine bay looks like on my car. So you can see the carbon fiber surrounds on the outside, the strut caps, the triangular shaped pillar covers up in the front by the C8 rally driver stuff. I don't know the names of any of this stuff, but there's like 7 different carbon fiber pieces here it takes to cover the entire engine bay area, plus the X braces from them. All of that stuff is from them, minus the torch red painted intake, which is from the guy who is sitting beside me on the screen here. So
yeah, I have the same brace, but and if you've seen any of my videos, guys, all the exterior stuff on my car is EOS. I mean, it's good stuff.
it is.
It really is.
Yeah, they continue to surprise me with the quality of their carbon, but like we were saying earlier, they don't make the carbon. EOS is not making this carbon. They're actually sourcing it from other manufacturers that, just like a lot of the other websites do. So if you look at that engine bay, that picture is not touched up. Like, that's what my engine bay looks like. And I have had all of those pieces on there, minus the red intake, for almost a year. And I've put roughly 5,000 miles on my car this year, and I do not drive it easy. So every time I come home, my fans are still spinning for like 10, 15 more minutes because I drive it hard. These pieces are not yellowing. They're not delaminating. These are quality carbon fiber parts. So whenever I tell you that this is the giveaway for today, this is a good piece of carbon fiber for your car. And if you want to try to cover up the silver door sills, this is the best way to do it. Donate $10, get an entry, versus paying 250 plus on their website, plus shipping and tax and everything. You could possibly win these for $10. So give it a shot, if nothing else. But let's take a look again at some more information, because one of the other things that's interesting that came out, there's 2 different TSBs that have been released for the C8 Corvette. And I don't even know if you know about these 2, David, but they're really odd. These are really odd TSBs, for one of them specifically for a Z06, and then the other one is for any C8. So if you guys aren't familiar with what a TSB is, it's a technical service bulletin. And it basically says, if a customer comes in complaining about XYZ, here's the fix. Now I'm going to show you the first one here, which is the oddest one of all, I think. And it's called, or it's over at the Mid-Engine Corvette forum. It's called a TSB issued for whooshing sound on all C8s. Now, before we get into this, though, I want you guys to ask yourself, when's the last time you were driving your C8 that you noticed a whooshing sound? I mean, there's only one whooshing sound I can think of, and it would be possibly coming from the intake. So
that's the only time I hear it, is when the throttle blips on downshifts.
Yeah,
that's pulling air in. That's all I ever hear.
Yeah, but that's a good whooshing sound. Like, who would want to get rid of that?
That's a great point. Doesn't happen while you have the intake.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
So who has this problem? I'm curious. Anybody in the comment section, do you have a whooshing sound with your car that you would like to get rid of? Keith French is at Spring Mountain. That's awesome, Keith. Man. You got to be enjoying yourself then.
That is awesome. You're having a good time. Yeah, and while we're waiting on somebody to pop in about their whoosh, Chili Pepper asked where Brandon is tonight, guys. Brandon is elbow deep in an octopus of wiring, trying to last minute finish up the nitrous for the track rental this week. So he is really crushing it this weekend.
Yeah. So another thing is, this week was actually not the week for David and Brandon to even be on, but
right.
David was already set to be on, so I was like, let's do it. Who cares? So I think Brandon knew that, because he was working on his car.
Yeah, he was planning on that. Yeah. No, and I was telling Justin, so I was in Orlando for work through the hurricane and ended up at the hospital. I had to stay like Wednesday night, all day Thursday night, all day Friday, and I lost track of about 4 or 5 days in there that I really haven't found out where they're at yet. So that's why I thought this was the week that we were on, and Justin's like, yeah, sure. Come on.
Yeah, it doesn't literally doesn't matter to me. 2020 Matrix 8 says that the car does a great job of heating up the garage 3 to 5 degrees. It's going to feel really good this winter.
It does.
Yeah. I know there was one video I was filming after I got back from driving the car, and I kept turning around as I was doing an outro on the video. I was like, this fan is still running. It's been like 20 minutes since I parked the car, and the fan's still just like, whoosh. It must have been really hot. But
well, and you drive yours like you said. You don't just
yeah,
fiddle it, like you drive yours, so
right.
it's gonna come in hot. Yeah.
And that's the thing is like I drive the car the way it's meant to be driven, and I have not had any problems with that car, like none. So even with the aftermarket parts I have on it, which the cats especially are kind of pushing what you should be doing with a stock car, I still don't have any problems with it. It drives perfect. It sounds perfect. Everything about it just seems to be like perfect. And then the carbon fiber on the engine bay, none of it's yellowing, none of it's delaminating, peeling, chipping. It's all good stuff. Like I have not had any problems with any of the things I have on my car.
Yep.
So I'm getting the impression here that no one's really having a whooshing sound problem, but let's just say you did. Let's say right after you watch this video, you go and you drive your car tomorrow and you're like, hey, that's that whooshing sound that Justin was talking about. Well, check out the TSB here. This is the number you're going to want, the pound 24 NA222. That's the, there's a 222 again. I'm telling you what, man. I'm telling you what, that 222 mile an hour thing, it's going to happen. So anyway, this is it. And it's for all years from 2020 to 2025. And it's for all Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray owners. It does not call out any specific engine here. So if you have a whooshing sound that you don't like, take it into the dealership and mention this TSB and get it fixed. So like I said, this is kind of an odd one. I didn't really know what to think when I saw this. I like to stay up on my TSBs just because technical service bulletins are only covered if your car's under warranty. This isn't a recall. This is a warranty issue. So I like to stay up on the TSBs just because while I'm under warranty, I want everything that can be done to be done. So whenever I see TSBs pop up, I check them out. And that one, I was just like, what is this? I don't even know what to think of this.
It's just weird. It's strange. I do remember many years ago when I put a cold air intake on a homemade cold air intake on an old 50, the old 302 Mustangs, and it made the most weird sound. And people loved it because they're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's just a homemade cold air intake, man." And it just made the weirdest sound. So I don't know, man. I like and the whoosh got louder with the Venturi. Did your whoosh get louder?
Yeah.
So the whoosh, and when you downshift, it goes.
The car that I noticed, like a front engine car, not even on my C7 because of where the intake was placed, but I can't remember what car it was that I had. I had a cold air intake on, and I would just stab the gas real quick while I was in neutral. I'll just stab it real fast, and you would hear the intake go before the engine would, and it was a real loud like sucking sound.
That's how that one that I had. It was like and then it was
it was kind of cool. Like even then, cool. I wasn't afraid of the whooshing sound. Like I don't know. I don't know. I like don't know, you tell me it's a ticking sound.
How many people though have to come into the dealership and go, I have a whooshing sound?
Yeah, who's using that word?
That it's a TSB, right?
Right.
I can see these calls going back to GM too. Hey man, we keep getting these guys coming in with a whooshing sound.
Yeah. Everybody's describing this specifically as whooshing. I don't understand. Jay Brazelton, what's up, man? He says, still loving my Z06. You should. The Z06 is an absolutely fantastic car. So there is nothing not to love about that car. I honestly, it is going to be a tough sell for GM. The ZR1 is going to be an amazing car, don't get me wrong, but it is going to be tough to sell a much more expensive car for something that most people are never going to be able to use. So we've talked about this before about how GM is saying that they're not going to limit production of the car. They're not going to have to. The production of the car is going to be limited by the people out there that can afford it. It's that simple. Now, we did talk a little bit about how some carbon fiber constraints are probably going to limit the production too, but that's nothing new. So, yeah, KP says ZR1 turbo whooshing sounds under recall too. That's immediately when I saw the whooshing thing, I was like, that's got to be referring to a turbo. And I was like, no, this isn't even for the ZR1. And I was like, how could they have a turbo or a recall out on the, or a TSB out on the ZR1 already? The car's not even out yet.
Yeah, I love how the Venturi amplifies it. I downshift just to hear it.
Dude, ever since I got those cats put on, I literally don't even drive my car in drive. I drive it in manual mode every single time. Especially now with those paddle shifters, it's like I don't even, I hit the drive just long enough to hit the M right below it. Like
the manual.
Yeah.
Yep.
G Smith, it is Extreme Online Store, which is actually the one that that has all the carbon fiber parts that you'll see here in my engine bay. All of these are Extreme Online Store. So very good quality. Now, I will tell you this. My experience with them with the C7 Corvette stuff was not as good, not as favorable. Their C8 quality products, or their C8 products quality wise, far better than the C7 was. So,
Nice.
it's, I don't think they actually, no, they do. They make a couple parts now for this, the C7 ZR1 that has just come out.
They do.
That I still am actually anxious to test because they're newer products. The stuff that I'm referring to with the C7 not being as good is older stuff. So, G Smith has a C7 ZR1, so I know that's specifically what he's most likely asking about. But, ooh, what kind of boo-boo? Hopefully you're not talking about that front splitter. I don't know if they have a front splitter, actually. What is interesting, though, G Smith, is if you notice what I've noticed, the supercharger cover, the carbon fiber supercharger cover on the C7, horribly brown. It is turning so brown, it makes me want to just like cry.
And it's literally right there in the middle.
Yeah, right
everything.
Everything. The first thing that everybody's going to see about the car. So with that said, EOS actually does have a new supercharger cover that actually has vents cut into it as well, which is kind of cool looking. I've thought about swapping it out, but my only concern with that is there's two other pieces right around the supercharger cover that attach to the hood that are also just as brown. So you slap this real gray, nice piece of carbon fiber right in the middle of the two brown pieces, it's going to make it look even worse.
Yep. No, but I've always thought that when they yellow like that, like it's the one piece. It's like the show piece of the front end of that car. And it's just like, there it is. It's brown. It's terrible. And your car too, with the black. Oh, it really sticks out.
Yep. And it's funny because when I park it in my garage, my wife came out after one day I was parked in the garage. She's like, why is that hood so yellow? And I said, I know, it's horrible. And she's like, I don't even think I like the car anymore. And I was like, well, don't go that far with it. But I was like, the next day I pulled it out to wash it. And she came out and she's like, did you change the hood? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, it doesn't look yellow anymore. And I said, it's different lighting. Like the lights in my garage are fluorescent. Right. They bring out the imperfections and everything. But outside, it doesn't actually look that bad. Great White North Corvette.
TSB does not require fixes. Yeah. A notification that the sound is normal.
It is. Yeah, that I was going to get to that because I totally forgot that the fix for that was just to tell people to stop being weird, basically. So, Great White North Corvette, though, says, does everyone agree that the Zora package will be a check mark for the ZR1 order sheet? That, believe it or not, that was said here on this channel first before anybody else mentioned that. And I mentioned it just like off the cuff, not even really thinking about it. I didn't say that that's how it was going to go, but I just said, what if this was the case? And then afterwards, it started to make more and more and more sense to the point now where most people agree that that is what it's going to be. Because just because of the fact that Taj said that the ZR1 was going to be the most expensive car. And the only way to make sure that that still stays the case is if they just add the Zora package later. So, yeah, I do think that that's what it's going to be as well, Andrew.
Yep.
Yeah, Paul Yunker says the TSB does not require a fix. Yeah, it's just something basically acknowledging that they know it's, we'll put in quotes, an issue. That's a good question. Robert Brunn says, Justin, how many G's do you think the ZR1 will pull? Man, with the same tires and everything, I don't think it's going to be much more than the Z06, if any. Because I mean, it's limited by the same suspension, the same tires, very similar brakes, pretty same weight. I would say it's going to be pretty much the same as the Z06.
And it's not going to be that all-wheel drive immediate Tesla Plaid hit, right? Because it's going to be torque limited. It's going to be quick, but it's not going to be that instant bam like the Plaid is. So I'm with you. Like it'll pull harder once it like gets up into the gears for sure, because it's got all that horsepower. But from the initial hit, I don't think it's going to be that much harder than the ZR1.
No, the engineers at Carlisle flat out told me that. They said don't expect a 0 to 60 time much better than the Z06, if at all, because it's going to be so limited with torque that you're not really going to feel the difference of this car until after 60. So
they told me the same thing when I was on. They actually said it'd probably be a little bit slower, but
Yeah, ouch, man. $100,000 for $100,000 more for a car that's a little slower than the Z06 until 60. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
Can that really be sold? Let's see. G Smith says coming down Friday to Latrobe to get my 91. Nice. By the way, one of the cleanest examples of a ZR1 I've ever seen in the C4 generation. What time
really.
are you thinking you're coming down? I wouldn't mind to be up there to meet you.
I
Yeah.
love what's so.
Jason Fanning says Justin knows all. So this is actually the general manager here at the Blackout Tinning Shop in Florida now. His name's Jason. He's on the chat, so say hi to Jason, everybody. If you want to come down and get
Jason?
anything done to your car, that's who you'll be talking to. General Lee says, what do you think the Zorro package will run? It really depends on what the Zorro package is. If we're all right that the Zorro package is just the E-Ray front hybrid motor from the E-Ray in the ZR1, and that's it, probably 9,900, right under 10 grand. But if there's more, if there's active aero, more aerodynamic pieces like vented fenders or hood roof scoops, stuff like that people have speculated, that price will then go up. But if it's just the hybrid motor, I would say it's a hair under 10 grand.
That's probably pretty good.
GM loves those prices. It'll be 99.95. Like, just call it 10.
Yep. Or $495 for this, or $695.
Yeah, it's always just right under the fully even number.
Yep.
Yeah, so Steve, I get this question all the time, man. Steven Bowling says, y'all seen a service rear axle code on a check engine light? All the time. So since the day I got my C7 Corvette, it's even before I got my Corvette, actually, the very first time I ever drove a C7 Corvette, I got in it, pressed the start button, the car started up, and immediately it was telling me to service rear axle. Then after that, it jumped to service airbag. And then both of them went off. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, that's not a good first experience. It's all battery voltage related. So if your battery just died, is going to die, or you had to jump the battery for some reason, this is a battery voltage issue almost every single time. So the only time I've ever seen these issues, and I saw it one time on my ZR1 right after the battery died. You jump start the car, you immediately get a check engine light, and one of the very first ones you're going to get is service rear axle. So usually it's a battery issue. Now, I don't want to say it's always a battery issue because, that one time that it's not, I don't want to seem like I'm an idiot. But at the same time, check your battery. I've heard a bunch of reports recently talking about OEM factory batteries being super weak, whether it's GM, Ford, whatever. Everybody seems to be going weak on their batteries now. Get a new battery. I don't know. You could take it to the dealership, but odds are good they're going to test it and they're going to be like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's probably not, especially if you let the battery die or if it died for any reason. Like a lot of times if it's at the detail shop, the detail guys will move the car into the shop and then out of the shop and into the shop and out. And the car's not on long enough for the alternator to recharge the battery. So it just keeps dying more and more every time they move it until eventually it's completely dead. My friend D. Anthony, you guys might know him, D's Rides. He was at Carlisle. He had the same problem. It was the detail shop moving the car in and out. The battery died, and then afterwards, the battery was never the same again. It was causing all kinds of weird issues. He ended up just going and buying the anti-gravity battery, and he hasn't had a problem since. So OEM batteries are typically pretty weak. They don't usually last that long anyway, like maybe 3 to 4 years at most. This is probably the issue you're running into.
Yep. And a lot of people don't realize too with these cars, if you're in and out of it and you have the key fob with you, instead of when you're working on it, just open the doors and take the key away and keep it outside. It keeps turning the systems on and off every time you're opening the doors if you have the key fob with you or in the car. So if you're going to be just open your doors, take a key fob back in the house and just leave it open and keep working on it.
Yep. Something I was actually about a year ago, I was changing out the air filter on my ZR1 and I found out the hard way that if you leave your key in the car when you disconnect the mass airflow sensor off of your intake, it now is going to trigger a check engine light. If you had taken that key out and disconnected it and then reconnected it, it would have been fine. It's just the weirdest stuff. Like basically,
I did that with the throttle controller when I did mine. Like I didn't even think the throttle controller would throw a code if you. Sure enough, it did. So
Yep.
then I went back and read the instructions afterwards, and I was like, oh, that's why. Yeah. So.
Yep. Chopper Larry, that is true once it hits a certain point of lowness, we'll say. But the alternator is there to keep your battery charged. But after a certain point, when the battery discharges to a certain point, the alternator cannot recharge it.
Correct. You are correct.
Joe's Garage, what's up, man? He says, what's the life expectancy of the, well, it's an anti-gravity battery. They warranty it, I believe, for 10 years, but they say that it will actually, usually they last between 10 and 14 years. So it's a lithium ion battery, so it has a lot more shelf life. Like the video I made getting my ZR1, that car had sat for 8 months. I thought initially it was a year, but it was 8 months without ever being touched. So not started, not unlocked, nothing. And I got down there and got right in, hit the button, and it started right up. I didn't even have to use the built-in jump pack of the battery. So if it ever gets to the point where it dies so much, the battery actually will shut off power to everything at 20% and then allow you to use that last 20% to start the car up so you can move the next. But it didn't even get to that point. The car started right up. So shelf life wise, I don't even bother putting the cars on a battery tender anymore for whenever I leave them sit over winter. My cars will sit for between 3 and 5 months. There's no point to even put a battery tender on them. They'll be fine. As far as ever buying, I'll probably never have to buy a new battery for either one of the two cars. The battery will last way longer than a regular lead acid battery. That's what the OEM ones are. And the OEM ones seem, whatever they're doing to the battery technologies right now for OEM, they're just getting weaker and weaker and weaker. It's so weird.
Well, and all the systems are getting more and more. Like you're pulling more juice too. So you got a weaker battery, plus you're pulling more juice.
That's true.
It's a double-edged sword, So.
Yeah. And Joe, anybody in here who is interested in grabbing one of those anti-gravity batteries, if you use my link, my HPO 10 discount code, it will save you 10%, which happens to be a lot of money on that. That anti-gravity battery ends up being like $130 or something. So if you do want to grab one of those, let me know, because you're going to want to use that code to at least save yourself some money.
Yep.
There is another TSB that I wanted to talk about that might be a little bit more relevant to some of you guys, especially you with the Z06s. There is a TSB for a coolant leak, which is interesting because I know some of you guys have had some problems with coolant leaks, and this is a really, really easy fix too. And one of those things that's just like, you just kind of slap yourself in the head because it's like, why is this even a problem? But ultimately, it is coolant leaking right here, and it's leaking from this tiny little hose that has a hose clamp on it that's basically too far forward. It's not clamping on the actual pipe here. It's not clamping it at the right spot, so it's letting coolant leak out. So the fix, as you can imagine, is to loosen that clamp, move it a little bit, and tighten it back down. But again, it is a TSB. So if you're looking to make sure your car is running top notch all the time and you've noticed any kind of tiny little coolant leaks, because some people have contacted me with like puddles this big of coolant under their car, this is probably where it's coming from. Any leaks on your car, David?
No, sir.
None on mine either.
I haven't had any.
You're very welcome, Joe. Do you think the C8 Vet? Do you think that the C8 Vet be a true all-weather car? I mean, you can make any car an all-weather car if you really want, but the big thing is you need snow tires. If you have snow tires, pretty much anything can make it in the snow.
And I tell you this much, I thought the weather mode was BS until we were at Ron Fellows on the skid pad.
Yep.
And they're like, put it in weather mode, turn the wheel, smash the throttle. And I'm like,
yeah, it really does make a difference.
It makes a huge difference, man. I was like, it's all BS. But nope, that car has such a good nanny on it for the weather systems for traction control. Yeah. You'd have to be an idiot to get that thing out of sorts with the full weather mode on and snow tires or winter tires. Like you'd have to be. If you one of the best cars I've ever driven in the snow, and I'm not even joking, one of the best cars I've ever driven in the snow was a lowered 370Z Nismo with snow tires. I put
Michelin something. I can't remember what they were. Michelin somethings on that car, and it was a manual transmission. I had it lowered. I went through like 3 feet of snow at one point. The front bumper was literally scooping snow
Like
and throwing it over the car,
Yeah.
and it would not spin. And I was just blown away by how much how big of a difference there is when you choose the right tire for the right situation.
Oh yeah, if you have winter tires, yeah, they actually stick to the ice, whereas the other
Yep.
stuff doesn't. Like
Yep.
they actually stick to it. So,
Yep.
and yeah, Steven, the brake dust on the Z06, get some low dust brake pads, buddy, because you with the stock ones, you go down the street and back, and you got to clean your wheels again, man, for sure.
That is what they were.
Oh, other
KP.
than pads, not really. I mean, the carbon ceramics are better, but other than pads, no.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's funny because I have talked to so many people that are thinking about, oh, I'm looking at a Z06, and I'm like, okay, tell me about the options, and they're like, well, it has this, it has this, it has it. Oh, no carbon ceramics though. Do you think I need carbon ceramics? And I'm like, do you like cleaning wheels? And they're like, no. Then yeah, you need carbon ceramics.
Yep.
Ceramic coating the wheels does help. You're still gonna have to clean
does.
them, but it does help. Speaking of that, David, any
Yes.
word on yours?
They should be here this week or next.
I'm
So
pumped to see those.
I was hoping they would be here before track day, man. And I was like, but it's all right. They're going to be amazing. I can't wait for them to get here. So, but I just got that final email saying they're doing the QC on it. And it should go out
Nice.
after it passes QC. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Mark Surge says, hey, Justin, do you think the Zora will have only be a hybrid ZR1, or do you think we'll have other tricks up its sleeve? I think we will get other tricks. I don't think it's going to be just the hybrid motor. I think there's a good possibility that at least something on that car will be active as far as aero is concerned. Either the spoiler, the splitter, something is going to be active. I agree. It
maybe if it's not the spoiler, even there's gonna be something other than just slapping the motor in. There's gonna be something else, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I'm with you on that.
It has to be, because otherwise it's going to be a really hard. It's going to be a hard option to check if nothing else is changing. Because I mean, then no one physically knows that the car is different at all.
Right. No, I'm with you 100%. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
NBA Live. The ZR1's brakes are also the biggest they've ever put on a Corvette. They're bigger than the carbon ceramics on the Z06. They're massive. They're huge.
So what did we determine the size difference was?
I just read it and I forgot.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you're the one who told me. Because on GM's website, they list the Z06 and the ZR1 as 15.7 inch, or maybe 15.8. It's either 15.7 or 15.8, but they're both the same. So
yeah, I literally read something from the one I was reading about the 80 to 200 to 80 literally today that said that they were, and they weren't much bigger. It was like 0.2, and but it's bigger.
Yeah.
Is what it said. So I'll text you after I'm done, because I probably still have the article pulled up on my phone. So you can buy a lot of wheel cleaner for AG's. Chopper Larry said, yes, you can.
That's a valid point. Yeah, they are thicker, Nate. That's what I was led to believe too. But somebody told me that there is a diameter difference too, because both.
No, they are definitely thicker diameter wise, or thickness wise, for sure.
Yeah,
that is 100%. Yeah. No, absolutely on that. So
somebody told me that they were bigger diameter too. But I knew whenever they first came out with announcing the car, they said that it was the biggest brake setup they've ever put on a car, and I was like, what the heck? So I looked at their website. It said 15.7, just like the Z06. And I was like, how is that bigger? And then I started digging some more, and I found that they were a little bit thicker. And I was like, okay, that makes sense for heat reasons, but why would you call that bigger?
It's so crazy though that we're at that point where we're talking about 15.7-inch brakes all the way around. Do you know what I mean? Like, man, I remember the days where if you had 13-inch brakes, you were balling.
Yeah.
like you had 13-inch brakes, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
13-inch Brembos, woo, baby.
Yep.
Now we're like 16 inches almost on these things.
I know.
Crazy.
And that's the thing, is it's like they're so big that the inside, it almost fills up the inside of your freaking wheel. Like you can't just go slapping 17-inch wheels on your car anymore. It won't clear the rotors.
Yep. Well, that's what we run into when we were looking at rear wheels for drag radials. Like a lot of the stuff won't clear the Z06 brakes. So you're limited there. So
yeah, so they're 15.7. I just verified that. It's 15.7.
They're just thicker.
I honestly, I still can't find anything that specifically says that they're thicker.
I'm pretty sure I read that too. Yeah, Bill. 13-inch brakes and 15-inch wheels. Yes.
Yeah, so here it is. The 2025 Corvette ZR1 has carbon ceramic brake rotors that are 15.7 inches in diameter in the front and 15.4 inches in the rear. The front rotors are the largest ever fitted to a Corvette, but that's where they leave it. It doesn't tell you how are they.
I know I read somewhere that they are thicker, and a lot of people said in the comment section.
I know.
Too. I know.
I did too, and I don't know where I saw it now.
Yeah.
But I'm just
looking at
this again.
That one I read today too. So
that's weird. That's definitely strange. But one other thing I wanted to mention here, guys, news-wise, before we wrap this thing up, and actually before we do that too, let's talk about the giveaway one more time. If you guys
I was just gonna say we're gonna miss the giveaway.
One more time, guys, if you're interested in the carbon fiber door sills, every $10 you donate is a entry. So these are roughly $250 with shipping and everything. If you want to try to win them for $10, this is your way to do it. If you donate via Super Chat here, or if you want to use the pinned Venmo link at the top of the chat, either way, you donate $10, you will get entered. Anything above 50 is double entries if you're serious. If you're really serious about winning these things. But otherwise, let's keep smashing those thumbs ups, guys. We actually are almost matching the amount of thumbs ups to how many people are watching, which is really cool. I want to talk about one other little bit of information here that it was actually kind of new, but I had a subscriber reach out to me and ask me about this if I knew anything, because he has a Z06 that has been built, but they're holding it. And so I started to do some research, and I found over at the Mid-Engine Corvette forum that a lot of people are having the same issue with their cars being held. Now, I think this has been remedied from what I can tell. But this particular user said that he drove past the plant today and the holding lot is as full as he has ever seen it. So this is curious to me as to what they would be holding these cars for, because it's not a constraint thing. We know there's plenty of that going around too, but these are being held for some other reason. Assuming that they're still being held, I have no idea what it would be about, other than potentially a 2024 to now 2025 infotainment system issue. This was something else I wanted to mention to you guys, because everybody that I've talked to that has a 24, they do nothing but hate on the infotainment system. I was gonna say David's one of them, but the things that I hear people complaining about with the 24 infotainment system are actually more than what I've heard you complain about, David. The memory seats are tied into the infotainment system, and apparently that is a problem with the 24s, where it almost never works. It never retains your settings. At least Bill Miller in the chat section here, he has never been able to get his to retain the memory seat function in the 24, and he's the second person I heard complain about this. So it's not a one-off issue. Both of them had 24s. Both of them complain about the seats not being the seat memory not working. I know you had added, I think it was you or Brandon was complaining about the CarPlay being even smaller because of that bar up at the top and on the side. That's stupid, but that's not like a.
And the lag just kills me. How it drives me bananas. I'm like, there's no way for $100 and something thousand that I should be getting lag in the infotainment center. That's the one thing that still sticks in my craw.
That's the biggest thing that I think is funny, is because the biggest reason that GM gave for switching from the 23s to the 24s was to fix that lag. And then not only did they not fix it, they made it 10 times worse.
They made it worse. Yeah, it's worse.
So we got lag as an issue, the memory seat function not working for some, and there was another problem, and I can't remember what the other issue was. Bill Miller, if you're still in here,
he's in the chat.
We were just talking about this at Cars and Coffee the other day, and somebody mentioned there was another issue they were having with the 24 infotainment system. But Nate is actually talking about how the front cameras has stopped working for him a couple times, and his is obviously a 24 as well. It might have been that. It might have been something like that. It was just weird electrical issues with the 24s, it seems, on that infotainment system, because my infotainment system in the C8 is the same that I had in my 2020 C8 Stingray, and I never had any problems with either one of them. And then they come out with the 24s, and they just have to change something, and it just made it worse.
Yeah, that's the only beef I have, really, is the infotainment system.
Chili Pepper says, what are you primarily using the infotainment system for? Literally nothing. I get in, and the second I get in, it connects to my CarPlay, and that's what I use. I don't use the infotainment system for, other than that, I guess, my backup camera and the front cameras. That's it.
Well, but even too, like switching between modes sometimes.
Yeah.
Click, you wait. Oh, here we go.
Exactly.
So I'm like, that shit should be instant, man. It should be like,
boom.
boom.
And that's the thing is, it's like we got our smartphones now. Okay.
Right.
Smartphones can make that stuff instant. Why can't a car? And then
Exactly.
like some of these cars I get into, brand new cars, I get in and I put it in reverse, and I'm like, what's going on with that rear view camera? I can't even see anything. It's like the
Right.
camera on my cell phone is just a hair worse than like a $4,000 camera. Why can't we just use that camera in the back of the car?
Exactly.
I never understood like why we can't have these really nice backup cameras. Just use the camera from your cell phone.
There you go.
It can't be that expensive, or your cell phones would be ridiculously
Well, it
expensive.
doesn't even matter at that price point, right? Like, I'd rather have a really badass backup camera, but.
Bill Miller says, I hate the infotainment system on my Z, and yes, I have memory seat issue where sometimes it works, but mostly I have to push my memory number to get into my seat correct. Yeah, and that's the thing is I've never once, not one time since I've owned my Z06, had to push that button. I get in my car and I hit the start button and it immediately moves that seat. I turn off the car and it immediately moves it back. Kevin Horan says, yeah, they hold these cars when they know there's a recall issue. So there could be a recall coming for the 24, 25s, which actually we do know about that seatbelt issue. It might be that because that did bleed over into the 25s. So maybe it was that. Seawolf said, I definitely prefer the infotainment system in my 23 over my 24. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Google system has some issues for sure. 10 seconds Z06.
I agree with 10 seconds Z06 on the rear view mirror camera. That's actually a good camera.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that one that's up there. Yeah, that's actually a really good camera. So.
Oh yeah, no HD radio functions. That was one too, which was odd. That was an odd thing to remove. So on the 23s, you could go to like a normal FM station and it would give you the HD radio option, but on the 24s, apparently that HD option is gone.
Correct, it is not there.
That is really an odd thing to go.
It is.
Joe says my C8 seat memory is retained, but sometimes it won't go into it upon startup. Holding the button will get it there. It's only a tiny bit annoying.
But it's that little thing, right? Like that's what I'm going back to on this. It's like the little thing, like for that price, and as good as the rest of the car is, those little things, you're just like, wow.
Yep.
It's probably some guy in the back who's like, the car can't be that good.
We got to. It can't be perfect. We got to throw something at this thing.
Exactly.
All right. So, guys, what we're gonna do, last chance for the giveaway. Well, actually, last chance tonight, but actually, it's not even the last chance. You guys can donate all you want. If you want to donate to the Venmo, just put in the comment section that you're donating for the giveaway, and I'll make sure you get entered. This will not be given away until next Monday night. So next Monday night, tune in if you donated tonight to see if you won. As of right now, there's not very many entries, so your odds of winning are pretty good. So you might want to think about entering in on this. Hopefully this kind of helped you tonight, guys. We talked a little bit about Corvettes. Like I said, that's what we always do on Corvette Weekly here. Big thank you to David for joining us last minute.
Yeah, man.
But other than that, guys, I think we're going to wrap this thing up. If you like what you saw, guys, please smash that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out a lot. It really helps get new people in here, and we want to make this community as big as possible. So if you liked it, smash the thumbs up. If you're here for the first time, consider subscribing. And that's going to do it, guys. We'll see you same time, same place next Monday night. And until then, stay obsessed.